Professor Rafi, Professor Doctor, an important person here in Mexico, and much more when we're talking about business and medicine business. It's a new era in that kind of field. And Rambam Center, let's say it's a pioneer in that way. Tell me what makes Rambam a good opportunity for people who are thinking about investing or doing something in the medical business.
Well, I think that the medical business is a huge opportunity for development, for business, for developing new concepts, new ideas, new therapies, whether it's pharmacology, whether it's digital device, whether it's medical devices, whether it's IT in general. There's a huge place for making medicine better for the patient. And you need, obviously, you need investment, you need development, you need ideas, you need to implement them, you need to develop them, you need to get to the patient. And this is also an exciting opportunity for so many people that come with various ideas. That's how medicine advances, through ideas that can actually turn into businesses, that can actually be sustainable over time economically. It's a very important part of development of medicine.
And why is different to look around what is the Rambam Medical Center doing from other institutions?
So Rambam is a very unique institution because it's a hospital that is next to a university which is focused on engineering, the Technion. So Rambam and the Technion are partnering in a medical school, but not only in the medical school, but also in all the engineering departments around us. So together, when you get together, engineering and medicine, you get new ideas, you get new concepts, and these new concepts, let's say if somebody has an idea, a doctor comes to an engineer, they come to a solution, and it's a good solution, and there's a huge potential, then you need to have investment, the initial investment. The initial investment should be followed by additional investments, and over time then you need to do a clinical trial down after development of the device. You have to have approval from regulatory bodies in the world, whether it's in America or Israel or Brazil or Mexico, wherever it is. And then you have to get to the patients and prove that it works well. So all of this requires investment, requires a lot of money, but on the other side it also returns. It returns to the society, returns to the patients in terms of health, and returns to the investor if it's successful. Rambam, because of this unique position of Rambam with the Technion, because we also see that as a potential for a hospital to develop, to be on the cutting edge of medicine, I think this is what makes Rambam very unique. There are very few institutions where the clinical medicine and the engineering part are so close together. They're usually much separated. Even look at the Harvard, MIT. These are different institutions. It's not the same institutions. On the other side, Rambam and Technion are close together. The Faculty of Medicine is on our campus, and we are actually investing also in creating an atmosphere of creation, of innovation. You have to create such an atmosphere. You have to help the doctors to advance their ideas. You have to provide them with some seed funding so that they have motivation to do the ideas, because it takes a lot of effort and a lot of time. We do that, we invest that, we see that as part of the strength of our institution, obviously in parallel to what we do in medicine in general, like treating patients. So that's why I think Rambam is so important for us to be on the innovation side, and I think that it really helps a lot to advance our staff, make them strongly academic, create an industry around us, and get this industry successful into the world.
Tell me something. Is there a difference for a doctor or for an invention or for whatever is happening, to have a doctor that is working half-time or full-time like a doctor and also investigating? It complements what he's doing, or you have to have doctors, and you have to have, you have the technion and you have the university. But it's for a doctor or for somebody that sees, he's investigating. Does it help that he's let's say, a doctor in functions doing this work? Not proving it, because you cannot prove the things that you are thinking, but to be in the day-by-day work.
Well, I'll tell you, there is obviously all kinds of types of doctors. There are those that are fully clinicians, excellent clinicians. They treat the patients, they do it in the best way, and they don't, and they use the current technology that there is there. There are the other doctors that have, that when they do a procedure, they say, well, I could do it better if I had this way of doing it. They come with ideas. Those doctors and those individuals, you have to identify them and you have to help them, because if you don't help them, the idea doesn't go away. The idea doesn't develop. They stay there, and I know so many people that had great ideas. They didn't have ways to develop it, and it just wasn't developed. So I would say that between 10 and 20% of our physicians are those with innovative ideas. Not everybody is innovative. Not everybody has to be innovative. You need the clinician, the good clinician. You need the innovative clinician, and we give them time. It's the important thing that you have to give them time for research. You have to give them time and also initial money, because after you give them the initial money, the idea then finds money from the outside, from investors.
Also, the doctors know what is needed when you're operating, when you're doing a clinical, when you are doing an operation or a surgery or something. You discover and you feel, it will be very nice if I have this kind of medicine or this kind of I don't know, anything to do it better. Like your case, you discover and you find the tents because it was something you needed to do it better.
So it's exactly like you mentioned. Everything starts from what we call unmet need. There's a need that there's no solution today. Like with a stent, there's a balloon, it opens the artery, but it closes again, so you need to, it's unsolved, so you have to find a way to do it. So you first of all have to identify the unmet need, find a medical engineering solution, do the development, do the clinical studies, first of all in animals, then in patients, get the regulatory approval, and get to the patient again. And that's how a medical device company develops. It comes from a very initial idea, initial a proof of concept that you have to show that it really something that is, the idea is good, because not every idea catches. You have to understand the business, the market, who will pay for that, how much will they pay for that at the end. You have to do all the process of the research and development engineering and the regulatory path. And finally, you have also to develop this. After you have a product which is approved, you have to be able to sell it to the world. And that's where
you have to have the opportunity and the media and the knowledge, because doctors are good in doctors, but they are not a good marketers.
Of course, but it's not the doctor that does. The concept have to be followed with additional of businessmen, with marketing person. After all, it's a teamwork. Maybe the idea will come from the doctor or from the doctor and engineer, but the development takes many people around it, especially also at the later stages, all this marketing. Same for everything.
And tell me something, if somebody here in Mexico who is watching this program and says, all right, I think it's the best way to invest in health tech, to invest in health, to invest in medical, it's different to invest, not in medicine because it's another way, to invest in these discoveries or invest in future. The future, it can be 2 years from now. And I think Rambam can be a good opportunity to find some projects. How does it work? Can I do it? Can I just, is there a possibility for me in Mexico, United States, Argentina, to work with some projects in Rambam and say, all right, I want to be part of it?
Well, I'll tell you for sure, because, for example, we'll take Rambam, and we have a couple of dozens of of projects of different phases. Sometimes very initial, and some of them more advanced. Some of them already in clinical studies, some of them also got approval and they're getting into the world. The opportunities are, first of all, as investor, if you want to invest in such companies, there is opportunity. You can invest. Somebody who wants to invest can invest in those companies. You can invest in funds that invest in those companies. That's another thing. There are a couple of funds in Israel that invest in these companies. You can also, if you want to work with a team, if you're a good engineer and want to work, you can come and maybe get a position to work. That's another way, but over the distance, that's the problem. And I think that down the road, when we get to clinical studies, to first in men or even later on, we can really involve Mexico as part of the clinical trial.
Exactly.
Because at the end of every product, whether it's a drug or a device, you have to go through a clinical trial. And the clinical trial is usually done by many hospitals, not only one.
Yes.
And what we call it a multi-center study. That's what makes it approved, that's what gets it to the market.
And Mexico can be a very good place, you say it, because of the diversity and the biggest. In Israel you have less people than the people living in Ciudad de Mexico. You have less people, and not so diversity. Here you have people living in the north, in south, in cold, in hot water, whatever.
Yeah.
So that it can be a good, you said, it can be a good opportunity to bring these technologies, this invest, and say, all right, let's try it. Can it be done?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
I think that this is a very good, because of the diversity of the population, because of also the existence of a medical system with expert physicians. I've seen some very colleagues of mine that have trained in the US and came back here, so there is also a lot of expertise here, clinical expertise, which is also very required. And I saw also that the doctors here are eager to take part in such studies. So there is a great opportunity here that we have to take advantage of.
Yes, you have to do it correctly. But tell me something. If today I come with you and I say, doctor, professor, or I come to the Rambam Medical Center and say, I have here my money. Too much, less, I don't know. In what area do you think I have to invest it in Rambam? Which ones do you think are the best project or the best opportunities to say, all right, this investment is going to be a good proof of what is now going on? And we are not talking about artificial intelligence. I'm talking about, if I have the money, where do I have to put it in these areas?
That's the $1 million question.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, I don't have the $1 million now. I think some people will say I have the $1 million. I want to make them 3 million.
Well, I can tell you there are several. Every field of medicine has the potential of growth and development. Over the last let's say that in the last few decades, the leading areas have been cardiovascular. There's been really a lot of development. I'm talking about devices, not drugs.
All right.
Cardiovascular, orthopedics, all kinds. This is all these bolts and screws and things for orthopedic surgery. There's been a lot of development in electrophysiology for the heart. It has been a great development for cancer treatment, for using many modalities for cancer, all kinds of radiation treatment and other physical therapies. And surgery. Surgery also has a lot of needs, a lot of new developments that have been done. Let's take robotic surgery, for example. That's another one of the, I wouldn't say it's so new today. Today it's well established, but it's still a very small percentage of the surgical market and it's still growing. So robotics in medicine is a great area to invest. So, but I couldn't predict which will go better. That's something that is very difficult.
Okay. You didn't tell me exactly which areas, but you tell me some areas. Now, I'm in Mexico.
But that's not all. I'm sure there
are many others. There are many things.
We didn't talk about eyes.
Yes, and we didn't talk about beauty and all the procedures and many things.
Yeah.
And we didn't talk about the printing in reality and many things.
In every field in medicine, there is a lot of needs, a lot of unmet need, and a huge opportunity for research. And as technology develops in the engineering and software world, applying it to medicine, always there is always an evolution in those devices.
And of course, you already told me some parts. I have the money, for example, or I have the investors. What will be my next step? Call Rambam Hospital, Rambam Medical Center. How do I get it? Which are the steps? Because it's not just Rambam. Do you have some place I want to invest? Yes, put $1 million here, and no, it's not like that.
No, we do have a special unit. We call it Rambam Medtech, which actually has the authority to have all the IP of all the workers in the hospital. They have the authority also to do collaboration with other bodies outside of the hospital, and we have a director there, and he is the guy who will channel. An investor like that could get a list of projects. He can choose one of them, and I want to invest in that because I saw this is a real problem. And you can also try to invest in in an average, all of them, and see. So there are mechanisms like that, and we want to further develop them over time because we think that this is really a need. But we have to understand that medicine is a long pathway. It's because you have a regulatory pathway. It's not that you invest today and you have within 2 years you have already a device on the market. In cyber security, for example, you can invest today in 3 months. Suddenly you have somebody who has made $1 billion.
Yes. You could invest in waste, and it could be in 2 days. So it can be. But I think I have one thing that is very important for people who want to invest. They have to know. They have to visit Rambam and know what is happening day by day there, and all the innovation that is happening there, and looking at it. It's incredible, no?
It's crazy, and I want to also emphasize part of our vision, because of what we talked about, is that we build in the middle of the campus an innovation tower. We call it the Healthy Discovery Tower. We put a lot of money to build it close to the doctors, and actually this building will have both laboratories for physicians and engineers from Rambam and the Technion, but we'll also have floors which will be dedicated to industries, startup companies from outside of Rambam that want to be next to the doctors because they need their collaboration. They need to see what is the real problem in the patients. They need to discuss on a daily basis when they find problems. So that's going to be it's now in the final stages of building, and I think that this is really a building that will create the future of medicine.
All right, I have to go there. Just tell me when, and we have to do something about that place. It has to be incredible because it will be the center of innovation in health and in medicine technology. Thank you very much, and we will be publishing and having more information about the Rambam Medical Center and all the innovation you are getting there. And it's an opportunity for everybody. It's one of the biggest markets and growing markets all around the world. And in Mexico, every day we have new hospitals, we have new technologies, we have new centers, everybody. We have it. So it's a good opportunity to bring these kind of things from Israel to Mexico.
Thank you very much.